Okay, we're trying this attempt number 2. I just tried to come on here and I don't know why Facebook suddenly kicked me off. I hope our connection is not weak because internet is sometimes a story where it doesn't always work with us. Anyway, we are here today in the Ultimate Baby Sleep group talking about twin sleep. For those of you who are new to the group, every Monday we have a specific question thread with the theme. This week is twin sleeping, otherwise known as double trouble, okay? And what we do on Wednesdays is I come in and I answer you and talk a little bit about this sleeping issue and how I can help you. So a lot of you had some questions about your twin sleeping. So I'm going to pick a few of them and hopefully hash this out a little and talk to you all about twin sleep and kind of how it works. But before talking and addressing your specific questions, I want to just tell you a little story. Okay, I actually went to visit one of the mothers I finished working with recently. When people live locally, I love, love, love to go visit them. And she has cute, delicious little baby girls. And I remember when she contacted me, things were in a crazy, crazy rut. It was really a tag team because that's what it can be with twins. Twins feed off of one another's energy. So this one would finally fall asleep. Let's call this baby A. And baby B would wake up and start crying and start screaming. Suddenly, baby A is woken up by this one screaming. This one calms down, and then this one starts crying. And it's kind of like a back and forth. So even if you're able to get one sleeping, it doesn't always solve the issue. Yes, it makes it a lot easier temporarily, but in the long run, obviously you want to help both babies sleep. And as they grow older, you're doing them a really big service for life because oftentimes multiples, and I'm talking twins, triplets, quadruplets even I've worked with, multiples who don't learn the proper skill of how to sleep, it's not always innately learned naturally. And the more you can help them, the better they will become at sleeping and the better they'll learn to sleep through each other's noises. A big question people often ask me is, should I separate my twins? Triplets even. Just finished working with someone with triplets last week, okay? Should I separate them, putting them in separate rooms? Isn't it detrimental to their sleep because one's going to fall asleep just like I outlined baby A and then baby B is going to wake up baby A and it's going to be a whole free-for-all? Short term, it's not always a bad idea to separate them, but I don't recommend it. Usually people with multiples, the ultimate goal is to get them sleeping in the same room together. So with any type of sleep training method you use, specifically with all of my methods, I like to set the stage for whatever the ideal goal is that we're working towards, okay? So if we're trying to teach a child how to sleep in a certain environment, in a room with siblings, in a room where there's light streaming in a room with his twin brother or with her twin sister or with triplets, whatever the case may be, we want to teach them to sleep through those noises and teach them to sleep in that environment while the training process is happening, because you don't want to teach a child how to fall asleep in complete silent darkness and then suddenly move them into a room where there's coughing noises and hiccups and rolling around and sometimes maybe even some protesting, because it's going to totally disrupt the sleep, throw you a complete curveball and make you have to start all over from scratch. It's not fair on your efforts, and it's definitely not fair to your baby to have to start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. So with twins, yes, I recommend if your goal is to have them in the same room, teach them how to sleep in the same room from the get-go. If your goal is to have them separate, fine, by all means do that too. Whatever your goal is ultimately, and I'm talking to people who don't even have twins, wherever you ultimately want your baby sleeping or your toddler sleeping, set the stage properly from the beginning to teach them to sleep in that environment. Okay, so let's go through some of the questions that we got here. Karen loves twin sleeping. Yes, you have delicious twin boys. We know that they are champion sleepers. Okay, there's a few questions here that don't pertain to twins per se. I'm going to skip over those, and if we have time at the end, I'll go back to them. Okay, Ricky, I have 5-month-old twins today. Congratulations. Happy birthday. 4 months ago, adjusted age. Okay, so they were born a little early. One takes forever to fall asleep, but sleeps through the night. Let's call this baby A. The other falls asleep quickly, but wakes up at least once or twice a night for a bottle. Baby B. Okay, I really don't think she needs the bottle. But if I don't give it to her, she will scream bloody murder for hours. Right now, they're in separate rooms. The one who sleeps through the night is in my room. Good call to keep the sleeping one in your room, Ricky. But you'd like to move them both in the same room. How do you take away the night feeding without waking up her sister? Also, if the baby who takes forever to fall asleep is nursed and bottle fed, I've tried putting her down sleepy but awake, but she will just play in her crib for hours unless I actually rock her to sleep. She won't just cry. She'll talk to herself and just play. Do I just let her stay there till she falls asleep? That means waking up for an extra hour or so. Okay, there are a lot of different things going on here, Ricky. You have baby A. I just want to make sure I'm clear on the situation. If you hop on here live, definitely clarify and let me know if I'm on target, okay? You have baby A who sleeps through the night. And baby A takes a long time to fall asleep. Oh, you are here. Great, Ricky. And baby A that takes a long time to fall asleep will sometimes take a long time to fall asleep, but actually sleeps through the night. Let me know if I got this. Baby B does not sleep through the night and wakes up frequently to be fed and screams. Right now they are in separate rooms. Baby A is in your room who sleeps through the night, takes a long time to calm down. Baby B is in another room. You want to move them together, but how the heck do you do that? Because you don't want baby B, who wakes up crying a lot, to wake up baby A. And you don't want baby A, who takes a long time to fall asleep, but once finally does fall asleep, sleeps through the night, to wake up baby B when baby B is falling asleep. It's like those math equations that you do in 7th grade, like when the train leaves the station 5 minutes late, train B. Okay, yeah, it gets very confusing, but I hope, okay, so I got it. All right, so number one, what I just outlined, I don't know if you saw this a few minutes ago, Ricky, but when your goal is to have multiples, have twins in the same room, it's almost just like you got to rip off the Band-Aid, okay? There's no gradually, there's no sometimes having them in the same room, sometimes not, because that's going to confuse them. It's going to send them mixed messages. Sounds like baby A, who sleeps through the night, is used to sleeping through complete silence, and you're worried putting baby A with baby B is going to wake up baby A. So let's first talk about that. Babies are a lot more adaptable than we give them credit for. So your baby will learn to sleep, most likely in most normal circumstances. Babies will learn to sleep in whatever environment we give them. I talked about this a few weeks ago, and I talked about how children are a lot more adaptable than we do give them credit for. I gave some examples, and I ran this through a little bit, so you might want to watch that from a few weeks ago when I talked about some studies in third world countries and small apartments. But at the end of the day, baby A will learn to sleep through baby B's noise. It's not going to be immediate. You know, baby A, who sleeps through the night, might wake up a few times when baby B is crying because she's not used to hearing any noise. She's used to complete silence where no one is disturbing her. So before moving them together, try to discuss and figure out what your real motives are for moving them together. Are you doing it just for convenience because you ideally want them together? Are you doing it because you want to have your bedroom to yourself? Are you doing it because you need the space? Whatever it is, there's no right or wrong reason. Figure out what your reason, what your why is, and figure out if it's worth it to work hard enough for. Because anything I'm going to outline for you now is not going to be easy, okay? It's not going to be something that's just a magical quick finger. I can't like sprinkle my magic sleep potion through the phone or through the computer. When I invent it, I will send all of you a bottle. That's for sure, okay? But first, decide if this is a big enough issue that you're willing to work hard on. If the answer is no, you can always revisit it in a month, in 2 months. Nothing is ever, you're never married to any idea with your children. You can always change things and always redirect them. Okay, but assuming you do want to do that, you're going to have to accept the fact that baby A is going to wake up a little bit from baby B's noises just because she's in a new sleep environment. But that doesn't mean you have to rush to her to calm her or suddenly start creating sleep associations and dependencies when they don't exist. Allow baby A the time she needs to get calm and relaxed, learning how to sleep through baby B's noises. It usually takes about, depending on the baby, some kids are super adaptable, some kids aren't. I'd say anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks, okay? So you have to be willing to work on that. Now, what I actually recommend doing, let's take a step back, is, and I know I answered your question prematurely, what I recommend doing for you is actually leaving baby A in your room and teach baby B to sleep through the night. Only once baby B is sleeping through the night, then move baby A in. Kills a lot of birds with one stone, right? So the next question is, how do you teach baby B to sleep through the night? Like any other sleep question that we get in this group. So let's say your 5-month-old wakes up multiple times and needs to be helped to sleep, needs to be nursed, needs to be bottle fed, and is constantly waking up. Go through, watch the threads that we did on night wake-ups for bottles, for night nursings, for things like that. You need to slowly acclimate baby B's body into lasting longer stretches because right now her internal clock is set for hunger. I'm hungry every 3 hours. I'm hungry every 4 hours. So even though technically she could sleep through the night just like her sister, her body is not used to sleeping through the night. A real avid hunger has been created. So if she eats every 3 hours, decide to bump it to every 3.5 hours for 3-4 nights. Then bump it to 4 hours. You know, pick something you're comfortable with while using a method that you are okay with teaching her to fall asleep. Maybe you use something for baby A. Maybe baby A was just this like perfect natural sleeper. Fine. Do some research. You can reach out to me if you want. I'll tell you about my sleep methods. We could set up a call. But you want to do something that you feel proactively could work for you but also doesn't compromise your parenting philosophies. There's a lot of different ideas here in this group also. Teach baby B to sleep through the night. Once baby B sleeps through the night, then worry about transitioning baby A. Because if you're going to move them together now, the likelihood is baby A, who's sleeping through the night, is not going to be sleeping through the night for much longer. Because if you don't have a solution for baby B, it's going to turn into one of those all-night tag team flip-flops. So my advice to you, Ricky, is teach baby B to sleep through the night. And only once baby B is maybe not even a champion sleeper, but well on the way, then you can incorporate baby A to becoming adaptable and learning to sleep better. Okay, I hope that helps. Let me know if you have a question while I run through the next question here. Okay, Megan. I've sleep trained my almost 8-month baby girl about a month ago. It's going great. We're going on vacation in a month. Any day. Oh, this is not a question about twins, which is cool. Ask your questions away. Megan, go look at the sleep regressions video we did a few weeks ago. We talked about sleep regressions and hurdles and traveling and getting sick. That will help you a lot. Or reach out to me if you have more questions. Okay. Anyone else with a specific twin question? Sarah, do you have twins here? Let's see. I'm ready to start sleep training one of my boys. They will be 5 months on the 9th. Okay, I want to do the Ferber method, but I'm not sure how to do it since his brother does not need the sleep training. Okay, so similar situation that Ricky just had. One baby is sleeping well, but the other brother isn't. So you don't want to do this because they're both going to be crying while you're training, and you're going to have that issue of the tag team waking each other up. We only have a 2-bedroom house. So they're both in the same room. Any suggestions? To be more specific, you want to do the console method. Not sure I can do strict cry it out. We're just letting them cry without comforting. Okay, got it. There's, first of all, as you know in this group, zero judgments ever. This group, we are not allowed to bash. We are not allowed to say this method works and this method doesn't work. And this one's going to ruin your child. And this one is the only way to do it. Or you always have to, none of that here. We're just here to talk about sleep in an open forum. Anyone who's interested in more gentle approaches, definitely reach out to me. But if you are cool doing that, then you got to do what's right for you. That's for sure. And you're saying you don't want to do cried out. You want to do a more comforting method when you're going in and out. Fine. Now, to answer your question, my dear, Sarah, this is similar to exactly what Ricky just asked. The problem is you don't have the luxury of another room. So number one is maybe you could do something like Ricky does. Maybe take the brother that's sleeping and bring him into your room, and then take the brother that's not sleeping and get him sleeping through the night in his own room. Once he's sleeping like a champ, like his brother, then move the brother in. That's just a technical setup. Sometimes with twins, we have to navigate around things because you're right. If you keep them in the same room, baby A, again, we'll call him Mr. Sleepyhead, the one that's sleeping well, is going to be woken up by his brother. And he's going to cry. And once he falls asleep, it's going to egg him on. And it's going to turn into a whole back and forth. The only time with twins that I recommend keeping them in the same room to sleep train is when they both don't sleep. And in such a case, we go head on. That's what I did with my mom. You will remain nameless. You are in this group, but I don't know if you want the shout out, who I went to go visit on Monday. We did that with her. Her girls, neither one of them were sleeping, so we kept them in the same room. But would she have had a situation where one slept and the other didn't, we would have to do a little bit of a separation. So Sarah, I recommend the same advice to you that I did to Ricky. Push the one out of the picture, baby A, that's already a good sleeper, and teach baby B how to sleep. Once he's sleeping, gently move baby A back in, okay? And you could do that just by bringing baby A into your bedroom. If that's not an option, because you don't want to, which is fine, you're in charge of your home, then you can do it, but understand that during the process, baby A's sleep is going to be disrupted. So you have to understand that and know he's going to be woken up. But again, they learn to sleep through noises. They're a lot more adaptable than we do give them credit for, like I had said in the beginning, and you have to give them the opportunity to become deep sleepers. Parents that walk around and unplug all the phones when their babies nap and get room darkening shades and 1,000 sound machines and signs on the doorbell, never ring your doorbell, you're basically training your child to not be adaptable. Now, just to tell you, when you're working on sleep and when I work with my families, we do our best to create the best conducive sleep environment during the process. But once a child is sleeping well, you have to incorporate them to learn to live in the world we live in that has light and noise and all these different things. So to answer your question, I think you should separate them if possible. If not, they can still learn. Any of you watching who have twins and aren't sure what to do, that's only the case if one is sleeping. If both are not sleeping, tackle them at the same time, because otherwise you are just painfully ripping off the Band-Aid by teaching one, then the other, and then moving back together. So when both aren't sleeping, work on them both at the same. Try to get baby B sleeping through the night. Okay. Let us know how it goes, Ricky, okay? Let's see, what other questions do we have here? Maria. I need help weaning my 3-month-old off the pacifier. Okay, this is not a twin question, but I'm going to answer you anyway, okay? Because I think it's the last question that is here before I run out. Yes, it's the last question here. Okay, Maria. You're 3-month-old, you want to get off the pacifier, but you're not ready to sleep train because she's only 3 months old. I'm not sure else how to do it. Every time I'm putting her to sleep and take it out, she cries. My husband and I are up several times at night reinserting it. Sounds like the game of the passy game, the popping situation of back in all the time. So Maria, there's a lot you can do with a 3-month-old. Sleep training, you should just know, has such a negative connotation these days. It's wrongly associated with leaving a baby to scream. Sleep training just means it could be whatever you want. Sleep training just means enlisting, introducing, incorporating healthy habits for your child to sleep. So you don't have to enlist a full-fledged sleep training method for your baby. You could just teach your baby how to self-soothe a little bit without the pacifier. So maybe try to just like reframe your mindset around that, because when you say sleep training, I could just like hear the negativity dripping through the computer here. Just want to say that, okay? Because it doesn't mean she's going to cry no matter what you do. If you go back and watch the sleep dependencies video from the early days, a few months back, we've only had this group for a few months, we talk about getting rid of a sleep association, which is what this pacifier is, right? She's become dependent on that constant sucking motion. So what you want to do is teach her how to sleep without that constant dependency on the sucking by slowly and gently incorporating something else. Pacifiers are a bit tricky. So with a 3-month-old, I'd want to make sure that she's not actually sucking because she's hungry. You want to make sure she's getting enough calories during the day, because a lot of the time babies that age have that really intense sucking reflex because they want to eat. So you want to make sure she's getting enough calories. I don't know if she's eating throughout the night. You didn't write that here, but you want to make sure you have a proper framework that you can build upon, and that, you know, you have that structure in place, that she's well fed, gaining weight, and everything's going well. Assuming that's okay and she's not hungry in the middle of the night. If she is, separate ball game. But if she's not, then you can think of different ways to phase out the dependency. You can either get rid of it and replace it with something else, meaning replace the dependency with maybe your touch or motion or being held, or you can decide to kind of like wean her gradually off the dependency by, let's say, letting her suck, but only till she's really drowsy. Or I'm just throwing a bunch of ideas out there. You have to make your own game plan, but just understand she might be a little bit feeling like protesting at certain points, but it doesn't ever have to reach a point of full-fledged screaming, nor would I recommend it for a 3-month-old. She's a little baby, just like you had said. But understand, sleep training just means teaching her those positive habits, because as she gets older, her relationship and dependency with that pacifier is only going to be deeper and stronger. And the older they get, the harder it is. Okay, so keep that in mind, that it's not necessarily going to self-correct. So go through and watch those past videos. Okay, but that's really the main thing with twins. It's a twin tag team. And I don't even know if I told you all this. My really good friend has quadruplet boys. No joke. Okay, when these quadruplet boys were 1.5, she had another boy. When that one was 2, she had a girl. So if you do the math, she at one point had 6 kids under 4. I kid you not, okay? I helped her with her quad sleeping. If she can get all 6 of those babies sleeping, you can get your twins sleeping, okay? You can do it, but it's all about process. Make a game plan, figure out what your goals are, what you want to do. Is it worth waking up this baby, A, to get baby B sleeping? Do you need to work on both of their sleep simultaneously, and what the best plan of action is? All right, have an amazing Wednesday, and I will see you all next week. As I said, when you ever have questions, feel free to tag me. I will respond to you whenever I get a chance. Our group is actually almost at 1,000 people, which I'm so excited about, because you are all so supportive of one another. We all have someone who could benefit from getting their child to sleep, whether they have a newborn, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old. I work with kids all the way till, like, these days, 7, 8-year-old. I still help, okay? So if you have anyone that you feel like would benefit from this group, whether it's from these weekly sessions that I do or the other amazing advice that all of you offer, definitely invite them to this group, because this group is growing and I really want to create an amazing supportive community, no judgment zone where we can just talk about sleep, all right? So definitely feel free to invite those friends if you can think of someone, whether it's a neighbor or someone you've seen in another Facebook group or someone that you just know around who you feel like could benefit from this group, because I think you are all fantastic. I'm a big fan and I'm looking forward to seeing what other great things this group can bring. All right, have a great day.